It appears dating is becoming more and more complicated for not just guys, but for ladies too. Now, before I jump into this video, firstly, I want to say, guys, you know this channel is predominantly for you, right? This is dedicated to the dating and relationship tips and tricks and self-improvement for guys, but obviously ladies, you're more than welcome to watch. I really want to highlight this video simply because I know a majority of you do not act this way. At least I would hope so. I would hope that's the case. But more importantly, I want to highlight some things that I find very common in the dating and relationship landscape. Unhinged men and women who go on dates with seemingly normal people and act completely uncouth. Now guys, again, this channel is for you, but I would be remiss if I didn't make a video calling us out. If I'm supposed to hold women accountable for some of the things that they do in dating and relationships, then guys, it's only natural that I do it for us as well. This video comes to us from hospice nurse Julie, and she talks about her most recent dating experience, which, you know, guys, again, I gotta admit, I'm starting to hear a lot of these more and more from women, especially like on TikTok and Facebook, but that's enough from me. Let's go ahead and roll the clip.
I just went on a date that was so bad, I literally walked out. This just happened, like I just got home. First the guy, the second he saw me, first off, we've already talked, we've had chemistry, we were excited to meet each other. We both looked like our pictures. The second he saw me, he said, "I recognize that dress." Okay, he looked like annoyed that he like recognized it because I had worn it in a picture that he saw of me. So like I was wearing the same dress and he was like annoyed by it. That cascaded into a good 20 minutes of him just blankly staring off and slowly answering questions or acting completely disinterested or then even like belittling me. And being dead serious and being like, "You don't know what street it was on? Do you have a car? Do you drive?" Then he even said, "Can we just not talk for 2 minutes?" And just stared off.
Guys, now again, I'm almost positive that the majority of you who watch my channel do not act this way. But first of all, can we just address a couple of things right off the bat? Like, being mad at her for wearing a dress that you've already seen on her dating profile? Why is that a problem? Now, I have a lot of clothes in my wardrobe, right? I wear the same 4 to 5 different outfits nearly every time I go out for spring, summer, whatever the case is. And don't get me wrong, I have a lot of clothes, but I wear the same shit because I'm comfortable. I don't think women should have to change their outfit or come to you completely different based on clothing. That doesn't make any sense. And then the way you behave on these dates also make women feel weird. If there's anything I've learned, it's that women, even though you think they're having a good time, they often act like they're having a good time because you're making them feel weird. Trust me, I've heard this before. I've had tons of female friends tell me about the times that they've felt weird during dates or being out with another guy, and sometimes they just laugh shit off simply because it's awkward for them and they don't want to make the guy feel uncomfortable. This is not the way you act during a date. And obviously, I'm not creating dating courses on showing men how to behave. Some things should be apparent when it comes to dating, and this is definitely one of those things that you do not want to do.
And like, thank God, I'm like pretty comfortable with myself, so I had like no problem being like, sure. Like, I know I'm not the problem here. Like, I can hold a conversation, I can laugh, I can joke, I can be light. I'm not nervous. I'm not nervous to go on this first date. Like, I'm okay, but I'm not going to sit here and let you treat me badly. And I even confronted him a couple times because he was being so strange. I thought that I was like, is something wrong? Are you okay? Are you angry? And truthfully, like, if you're not into me and that's like, I'm totally okay with that because I don't even know if I'm into you either. We're just meeting. So like, you don't have to be like mean to me if you're not into me. We can just call it quits.
Amicable breakups. That's what I vote for. I've been on tons of dates where things just weren't clicking, and matter of fact, I got a story for y'all. So I met this one chick on, was it Hinge? On Bumble. At the time, I was using a lot of different dating apps. I had just gotten out of a relationship, I think like back in 2018. So I was on a mean streak of just like on Hinge, Bumble, Tinder, whatever dating app that you can name, I was on it. And I was having quite the success, right? So this gave me a lot of dating experience, especially getting out of that relationship, because to be honest, that was like my third girlfriend ever, right? So being on a lot of these dates, I quickly learned what I liked, what I didn't like, and I never made it a mission to make the woman feel weird or make her feel uncomfortable. You know, at the end of the day, if the date was off, I always just told her, I was like, hey, you know what? I don't think we're really clicking that well. Or sometimes they would tell me that too. It's natural. You're not going to get along with everyone. And when I say get along, I mean in regards to, you know, potentially building that kind of chemistry to where you can have a relationship. Sometimes it just doesn't happen. Sometimes you make friends. It is what it is. But at the end of the day, guys, we, both men and women, I guess I should be general here, we don't need to belittle the person that we're on the date with. It doesn't make sense. Like, listen, if it's going sideways, then, you know, call yourself an Uber. Peace. I gotta go. I can't tell you how many times I've texted my friends, I'm like, yo, give me a call so I can get the fuck up out of here. You know, it happens. These things are normal. This is what dating is for. However, we've hit this point in society where rejection turns into some esoteric or a feeling of not being good enough or just not being accepted in the eyes of society, and then it just turns into a whole fest of berating one another, and it turns into just something that it's not supposed to be. Listen, if you don't want to date, that's totally normal. But the way that I see things, at least in my opinion, I think that if we could be okay with rejection, I used to work in sales, rejection happens all the time. If you could be okay with rejection, you will do well in dating, because oftentimes it's not you. It could be the person. It could be how they're feeling in the moment. It could be, you know, just some things that you guys might have touched upon in conversation that just didn't jive well. There's no reason to belittle one another. And I know there's a lot of guys that watch content like this that want men to bash women regardless of stance, but clearly, we got to be honest and we got to be open here. The guy was in the wrong. Like, you're acting weird. You're going to be mad at her because she's wearing a dress that you seen in a photo, and then basically tell her to shut up and not speak for 2 minutes while you guys are getting to know each other. That is weird ass behavior. That is weirdo behavior. Let's be honest. Let's be real about this, guys. That is weirdo behavior. You don't need to act like that. That's not how you demonstrate high value either, by belittling the person and making them feel small. And that could go for guy and girl, but in this case specifically, guys, we don't need to act this way. We're better than that.
Hence why when I was like, actually, I think I'm going to go. I don't think we need to do this. And the look on his face of shock that I was doing that was like, oh, wait, what? I thought you were thinking the same thing because you were treating me like shit. Then I leave, right? I say goodnight. There's an elevator ride. I'm thinking he wouldn't come over and ride it with me. Oh no, he does. He comes over. We silently ride the elevator together down to the ground. And then I just said, bye, so-and-so. And he said, bye. And then listen what he did. He texted me. That was terrible. And I said, yeah, really strange. And he said, yeah, very weird. Then he said, here's the kicker. You showed up wearing the same dress I saw in your picture. It threw me for a loop. He said, but you're really nice and pretty. And I said, I know I'm really nice and I know I'm really pretty. And you...
Guys, again, I don't even know where to begin with this one, because the passive aggressive behavior is very feminine. Very, very feminine. Like, again, if you didn't jive with her, if you guys couldn't get along, why get in the elevator and make her further feel even more uncomfortable? And on top of that, I'm pretty sure that would be uncomfortable for him too. Well, then again, not really, because he decided to jump in the elevator with her. But besides all that, if the date is not going the way that you like, just hit the eject button. Just be like, you know what? This just isn't going the way I thought it would, and I gotta dip. Peace. It's not that hard. There are plenty of fish in the sea. Granted, the fish may not look how you would like them to look, but there are plenty of fish in the sea, and there are plenty of people that will get along with you. And you don't have to act this way, you know, be upset with her because she was wearing the same dress. I keep harking on that point because that point just is so bewildering to me. Like, what did you expect her to do? Go ahead and buy a whole new outfit just to see you? Why? For what?
Really rude and acting really crazy, hence why I left. And he said, I don't blame you.
This is probably, I mean, I'm sure there's tons more stories like this, but this is one of the most unhinged videos that I've heard about someone else's dating experience in a while. That I've heard of in a while, excuse me. I just find it to be pretty odd. And you know, the funny thing about it is, I'm pretty sure this was a guy that was like her looks match, someone she was looking for from like a physical perspective, because, you know, With dating apps, oftentimes you don't really have a lot to go off of. Like there's no character that you could see in firsthand experiences, no one like necessarily vouching for them. So you kind of have to go there and experience it for yourself. But the only way you'd be willing to do that is if you find someone you find visually attractive, talk to them for like, I don't know, maybe an hour or two via text message, and then decide to go on a date if it gets there. Here's the problem. There's a lot of men out there that, and ladies, I'm speaking directly to you now. There's a lot of men out there that may not look how you would like them to look, but won't treat you this way. They simply won't. And I find it particularly interesting that the more attractive the person is, obviously I've only been on dates with women, but the more attractive the woman is, the more unhinged they act. And I could only imagine that's the same for some men as well. Not all of us could be sane. That's just the reality of it. And with society's mental health crisis, or growing mental health crisis, we'll probably just see a lot more of this through our own dating experiences. There's no wonder as to why men and women are opting to be alone. Because the mental instability that some people have is not only undercover, per se, where they hide it very well, where you won't necessarily get the person's full personality right away. You'll uncover some of those secrets later down the line, like month 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, whatever the case may be. But in addition to that, this puts people off from going on to the next date. So now what happens? This woman is reluctant to go on a date. She finds someone who probably does find her attractive, isn't an unhinged individual, and wants to treat her right, provided that they are a match. And she's worth doing that for. Now she'll be reluctant and more put off on going on that date and just perpetuating the cycle. Now this guy is also jilted. He is now reluctant to go on a date, and vice versa, and the cycle continues. If we want, and this is ultimately my thing, right? The reality of it is this. If both parties can't get along, then we'll see society crumble. No one is going to be spared from that happening. And I know a lot of people just want to watch the world burn, which is okay. If you want to watch the world burn, have at it, my friend, but you will experience part of that world burning, because your house, proverbial house, will also be caught in the fire. And if we want to get society back on track the way it's supposed to be, then we have to start at the individual level. We have to be willing to not necessarily compromise, but understand that this is the first time you're meeting someone. You don't have to act in such a manner as to where you're being, you're belittling the person, you're putting them down, you're acting just, call it for what it is. You're being an asshole for no fucking reason. Guys, we don't have to act that way. We're better than that. I'd like to think the guys that watch Maison de Roi is so much better than that. And in fact, we don't have to be that way. We can be gentlemen. We can be cordial towards these women. I'm not saying be a simp. It's not what I'm saying at all. Don't get me fucked up. I'm not saying be a simp. But there's a difference between being a gentleman, being an upstanding guy, and then just being a downright asshole. Gentleman and upstanding guy, they both go together. But being an asshole should have no part of that equation. But that's all I've got to say for this one. Questions, comments, concerns, you already know what to do. Feel free to hit me up in the comment section below. You can find my email address somewhere in my About Me section on this channel. If you've got content you want to send me, feel free to send it to me via that email. Other than that, I hope you have a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.